I know we've spoken about it on NFL Network multiple times, and I'm sure you've chimed in on it multiple times elsewhere. But just for the moment, the Brock Purdy conversation. What do you see when you watch the game film on him that you saw in person in the second half of that NFC Championship game, where he's able to flip a switch, for the lack of a better phrase? And what are you seeing in the struggles before?
Well, the biggest thing I'm going to say is that I think over the last year and a half, he's played the quarterback position as well as anybody. And it looks differently, but it doesn't mean it's less difficult than what some of the other guys do. And that's what I think part of the narrative has been, is that he plays more conventional football, meaning like guys like me, more things have to be right around him, where they have to play better in that pocket and on schedule than other guys have to. But he has done that really well. He's made a lot of tough throws that I don't think it's as easy as, plug any of these good quarterbacks in and they make all those throws. I don't think that's the case. But it looks differently than this era of quarterbacks. People ask me, hey, when you were going through it that first year, you didn't seem to, have everybody pointing to all your weapons and the greatest show on turf and all those guys you had. And I think one of the reasons was because I looked like every other quarterback. Like in that day and age, it was drop back quarterbacks. You're throwing it from inside the pocket. And so I looked like everybody else in my era, and I was doing it really well. So I got credit for doing it really well. Now the era is more Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and these athletic quarterbacks are the things that get etched in our mind is, oh man, can he make a they'll look pass? Can he run around and make five guys miss? No, but he's playing the position inside the pocket really, really well. But that's why I think he's getting scrutiny, because he doesn't look like this era of the prototypical quarterback where I did at the time. But playing great football, playing his biggest in the biggest moments, right? He hasn't played great in the playoffs. If I probably took every game that he's played since he took over as a starter, I would say probably his last two games are the worst two games that he's played.
Kidding.
Yeah, I would probably say that. Even though other people looked at some of the interceptions earlier in the year, some of the losses, I think he played really well in those games as well.
Including Christmas against Baltimore?
Yeah, I think that was more happenstance. I don't think he played terrible. I think it was Baltimore playing great and creating some things, but he still made a lot of plays in that game. I don't think he's played very well in these last two games, yet in those moments, the last drive, again, it wasn't like, I'm a realistic guy. So that last drive against Green Bay, it was all checkdowns except one throw to Jennings. So it wasn't like I didn't leave that game impressed like some people did. I was impressed with what he did before that. Last week, more about his legs than him making the plays in the pocket. But regardless, you do what you have to do to win in those moments. Play your best in the biggest moments. He's done that, and that's why he's playing in the Super Bowl.
And then what about, I know you've made mention on game day morning, and then I see what you do with QB Confidential and you tweeting about it as well. The scheme in San Francisco sets up the quarterback for difficult throws.
Yes.
That leads to
difficult throws.
And certainly in the middle of the field, which was always Jimmy G's issues.
Well, yeah.
So you're saying the scheme kind of
leads them to, well, first of all, when a scheme leads you to the middle of the field, there's a lot more bodies in the middle of the field. So that's just kind of the nature. If you're going to throw a lot of your throws in the middle of the field, there are going to be more balls put in harm's way. Mm-hmm. But yes, the scheme is very much built on play action and running the football. And so play action, you draw the linebackers up, you attack the middle of the field, there's bigger windows. When you get into a drop back game and you don't have that pull on the linebackers, and you don't have a scheme that, for instance, puts a guy underneath and a guy over the top of a linebacker, and you get to read off of that linebacker. Does he go deep? Does he go short? When you don't have that sort of stuff, now sometimes you're asked as a quarterback to find that throw. Like, does it go in the first window? Does it go in the second window? Does you have to throw it over the linebacker? And Brock Purdy and really all the quarterbacks in that system are asked to do that a lot. And so that's when people watch it and they go, oh, that wasn't that tough of a throw. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, there's linebackers all over. There's a small little window. You got to anticipate. And so that's what I don't think a lot of people see, that it's not always conducive to making the game easy and making, creating layups for your quarterback that are just easy throws. Everybody sees the throw to Debo. That's at the line of scrimmage and he runs for 20. Yes, that's a layup. But their throws down the field, they don't have a bunch of layups because of their offense. And so he's asked to make some more difficult throws, and that's what I appreciate about how he's playing.
And then just to extrapolate it out one step further, is that the fact that there's a play action necessity to have somebody bite on it to get the chunk plays to open up. Is that part of the reason why there's been no comebacks from 7 points down in the fourth quarter up until that Green Bay game?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think it's first, they've had a really good team, so you don't play from behind very much. Right? So that's kind of how I felt in my career. I don't remember how many comeback games I had, but I was like, we were ahead most of the time. So that's the first thing with San Francisco. They're ahead a lot. But yes, I believe their offense is built around the run game and the play action, so they're not as good. They're not as versatile in their drop-back pass game as some other teams are, because they focus on what are we really good at. We're good on play action and running the game, or running the ball, so we're going to focus on that, spend our time on that, and then the pass game will become more of a complementary piece to it. So now when we're stuck in a game where we've got to go to that complementary piece, the thing that we're not best at, you're not going to be as good in those situations as you are doing what you focus on. So yeah, I think it's twofold in how it plays out. But yeah, the bottom line is that's not their strength. I don't think they go to practice and go, hey, we're going to spend this whole period doing drop back passing, because Kyle's like, that's not how we're going to play. We're going to run the football and play action. We're going to beat people that way. And then if we have to throw it, we've got these pieces, but they're just not like vice versa to what we did in St. Louis. Like, we were throwing the ball. Like, running was a complementary piece. We were going to get really good at throwing it, so we were always built for that situation. But then we were up in a game, fourth quarter, and we got to be in the 4-minute drill and hand the football off. That wasn't our greatest strength, even though I did have teams that were good at that, but that wasn't our greatest strength. So we were at a disadvantage when we had to hold on to a lead as opposed to try to take back a lead.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.